Dub Nation, if you're looking for the latest news and rumors on the Golden State Warriors outside of YouTube, while we love staying in here and chatting with the guys on Warriors Today by Chad Sports, I'm always talking about the Dubs on my Twitter as well. If you're looking for funny memes, NBA highlights, and the latest breaking news on the Golden State Warriors, go on ahead and give me a follow on Twitter at AR Barefoot, and you know I'm always a part of that follow back, gang. Is the dynasty over? The Golden State Warriors lost to the Sacramento Kings, and now everybody is trying to figure out, will Klay Thompson stay with the Golden State Warriors? Is the Big Three done? And is this the end of the dynasty that we have seen over the last decade in the Bay Area? Because now that the Golden State Warriors have entered free agency, Klay Thompson has now been a free agent. The offseason is here, which means the Warriors have a lot of things to discuss and a lot of futures to really hash out here in the next couple of months. But we're going to break down Klay's future here on Warriors Today by Chat Sports. I am your host, Allie Barefoot. And before we dive into any of the facts, figures, and quotes from the players on last night's loss, I want to ask you guys a quick question here. Did we just watch Klay Thompson's last game as a Golden State Warrior versus the Sacramento Kings? Type your Y for yes, type your N for no down below, because you got to think about what his last game looked like if that is what it happens to be. The Splash Brother himself went 0 for 10 versus Sacramento. He had more fouls than he did points. He could not find his rhythm. He did keep very positive, a head held high as he was cheering on his other teammates, but to have 0 points in a must-win game, that's a pretty tough way to go out if this is the last game we saw Klay Thompson play for the Golden State Warriors. What we do know about Klay's future with the Bay Area is that earlier this season, Shams Charania did go on ESPN and say that Klay Thompson is expected to explore free agency. Since then, Klay has addressed that he wants to stay a Golden State Warrior, not only stay, but retire as a Golden State Warrior. However, ESPN's Kendra Andrews just recently asked him moments ago, do you view your contract as your last? And Klay Thompson responded and said, maybe. I don't know. I'm not trying to put an expiration date on my career. Things kind of something you just go by and feel. I still need to process the year that we just had. Well, Klay Thompson has had an incredible year with the Golden State Warriors, not just this year, what he did kind of towards the end of the All-Star break. Maybe before that, it wasn't that great, but he really showed that he still has some gas left in the tank. But over the last decade, in that Dubs uniform, of course, he's a 4-time NBA champion, a 5-time NBA All-Star, and we all know the game that he dropped 60 points off of 11 dribbles in 2016. So, Steve Kerr does address Klay Thompson's future with the Golden State Warriors, and I want to break that down here more towards on the back half of this show. But if you guys want to stick around for that, I highly suggest you do, because this is going to be some good quotes from Steve Kerr. But first, I want to tell you guys how you guys can test your skills on PrizePicks, the #1 daily fantasy sports app in America. All you guys have to do is pick between 2 to 6 players and just pick more or less on a player's projected stats, and you can win up to 100 times your money on any entry. Even today, if you pick 3 NBA picks, they're going to give you a $20 protected play. Win or your money back. Of course, I'm going to go with Jimmy Buckets, more than 23.5 points. Tyrese Maxey and Trae Young to have more than 6 3-pointers made combined, and Jovic to have more than 6.5 points. Go ahead and make your prize picks right now by going to prizepicks.com/CLNS, using that promo code CLNS for a first-time deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It is truly that easy. I think it's very easy to say that there is going to be nobody else like Klay Thompson to ever come through the Bay Area for what he has done for the 3-point game, for the 3-and-D game as a Golden State Warrior, alongside one of the greatest basketball players to ever do it, Steph Curry. So when Steve Kerr was asked about what Klay Thompson means to this franchise and what his future looks like, Steve Kerr said it hurts to see him struggle out there, speaking of his 0-10 performance last night. But it doesn't take away from who he is as a player. In the second half of the year, he was really, really good. There's still a lot of good years left for Klay, and I really believe that. I really believe he'll be back. I think he's meant to be a Warrior for life. He went on to address multiple more questions about Klay Thompson's future and to really emphasize how Steve Kerr feels about Klay. He said, "We need Klay Thompson back." I've said this since day one. It doesn't feel like the Golden State Warriors without Draymond Green, Steph Curry, and Klay Thompson side by side by side. There's a reason they have been the best trio in the last decade in the NBA. And I truly do believe that Klay Thompson deserves to retire a Warrior. For what you did to a franchise, I believe he deserves to have another contract. However, if Klay Thompson wants to go on ahead and try out free agency, he might get paid a lot more with a lot more playing time. I feel as though if he stays with the Golden State Warriors, you got to take a pay cut, maybe $20 million over the next 2 years, 3 years, and you're going to have to take a very significant change of role. If not, the dynasty may be over. My next question here to you guys, I want you guys to go on ahead and be Mike Dunleavy. Would you offer Klay another contract? If so, for how much? Like I said, I'm looking at $25 million, 2 years, if that. I don't know if Klay would accept it, but I'm also not very good at math. Not to mention, though, the Golden State Warriors do have the most expensive roster in the NBA, a payroll of upwards of $400 million. So obviously not paying Klay Thompson a lot of money could help the Warriors go out and get somebody like a true big, somebody like an all-star, somebody that can help them win right now. And Joe Lacob has already hinted towards some cuts happening in this offseason because A, they just simply can't afford the roster that they have, and B, when you don't win and provide extra bonuses and money coming into your organization, you can't pay them what you want to pay a championship team. So there could be a lot of moves happening here in this offseason, but the main thing is that Klay Thompson's future depends on Klay. If he wants to go to the Magic, if he wants to go to the Spurs, the 76ers, get paid more money and figure out what his next step is, he can do that. If he really wants to retire a Warrior, I'm sure he can sit down with Dunleavy and Steve Kerr and find something that works for the three of them. But nonetheless, it's Klay's decision. Even his best friend, best teammate, Draymond Green, said that after the game, saying he's got to make the best decision for him. Teams got a decision to make. They'll make the best decision for the team, and I don't think there's any scenario where Klay leaves, and that's the best decision for this team or this organization. I do really agree with Draymond Green here. I think this is not just some Joe Schmo that's played a couple of years and helped them win here and there. No, he has genuinely helped the Warriors add multiple rings to their jewelry box over the last decade. So my last question here to you guys is grade Klay's performance for the 2023-24 NBA regular season. Type A, B, C, D, or F. I'm going to give him a B. He really pulled it out. He was very positive towards the end of the season, and he was still putting up Klay Thompson numbers since the All-Star break. I'm going to give him a B, but type your grade down below. While you guys are at it, feel free to tweet at me at AR Barefoot on Twitter. We can have some conversations outside of YouTube if you guys want as well. And as always, go Warriors.